It's Thursday night. All ye critters, come join us. It's time to continue our flight. There is magic and mystery from darkness. Our friendship will rise. But one thing's for sure, we never give up on the fight. Oh, get ready. It's Thursday night.
So last we left off, Bell's Hells had seen their friend Dorian off with his brother Cyrus on Eric's Esteros' airship to Taldore to keep them both safe for the time being. Upon looking to delve into some of the mysteries surrounding your recent ill luck in social endeavors here in Drusar, you ran into the Green Seekers, a pair of well-known investigators here in Marquet and beyond. To build trust from them, to absolve yourself of the growing mistrust they seem to have in encountering you, you together delved into the mines deep beneath the Smolder Spire in Drusar, battled through shade creepers, and eventually stumbled upon, on the trail of Lady Emoth Cat, the Shade Mother, a large, misshapen entity that seemed to be the source of the ever-mutating shade creeper hordes that were tunneling through the city, stealing and thieving. You managed to capture Lady Cat herself and roll her out while escaping the Shade Mother through the help of some ingenuity and the sacrifice of one magical rope into some drill machinery left in the abandoned mine. After going your separate ways, you managed to gather yourselves and what strength you had left after a long, hard-fought battle. Bruised and battered a bit, you went and got rooms for the night there at the Soot and Swill, if I recall correctly, where you were looking over a glowing stone that you had discovered within the area of the Shade Mother's den, as well as you sleeping through an important date you had set.
God! Damn it.
As we left off. Imogen.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You might have forgotten.
Lights are going
It's getting real red.
I bet it was looks cool at the end.
You find yourself stepping through the familiar fields, and you hear once again in your mind that familiar voice, Imogen, run. And right as the phrase finishes, you sense something in your hand. You glance down and see in the palm the small purple gem. Something is comforting about the gem also. It offers a different path. It offers a different means of escape. As the bulk of the storm begins to hit the space where you stand,
start running.
the stone still in your hand, you see in front of you the farmhouse. You get close. You get close before you wake up.
Are you all right?
I'm fine.
Another dream?
Yeah. I don't know what that is. That stone, I don't know what it is. It was telling me to do something different. Should I have done it? I've been having this dream for years. It always ends the same way. Maybe I should have just done what it said. Maybe I should have just tried, I don't know, walking towards the storm. You know, I've never done that. Maybe I should just give in.
Did it give you a positive feeling in the dream or a negative one?
It felt wonderful. It felt comforting. It felt different. You know, I fell asleep holding on to the stone. Maybe if I fall asleep holding onto your hand, you'll come into the dream with me too. That'd be something, huh?
We can certainly try.
Yeah. Get some sleep. It's still early. I'm fine. I'm gonna leave this here.
All right.
Don't let anyone touch it. I don't know what it is. I want to have FCG look at it when he wakes up.
All right.
I'm gonna sit by myself for a while.
Okay. You spend the next few hours waiting for the sun to rise in quiet contemplation, ruminating on the facets of the unfinished dream. Until eventually, light comes, cresting over the far visible streets, and with that a strange, warm comfort of the new day to rise.
Oh. No! No!
Can we hear him through the walls?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Hey. You awake? You okay?
Yeah, I'm just going to sort of roll around a bit, twist my joints, blink a couple times.
Here.
Yeah, that's sure.
checking.
It goes
All
that
right.
way. Sure. Why not? I think I feel right as rain. Yeah,
And you know that yesterday you were a little off.
I do. I was aware
Okay.
that just felt a little, I don't know, stuck. Just a little stuck, but
Yeah.
I feel better now.
Well, if you figure out what was going on, please say it out loud. We need you working. You need you working.
I of course I will.
Yeah. You know you're never going to disappoint anybody or anything like that. If you need something.
Maybe I'll try to run some sort of self-assessment protocols or something just to try to see if I can figure out what that was.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let's collect everybody.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning. How was your evening?
Oh yeah.
Oh, it was fine. You know, I got up.
You didn't even wake me up when you came.
I know I can get up very quietly. So just beware of that. So I went out there,
Yeah.
and he just didn't answer the door. So
Is he dead?
I don't think so, because
Oh,
I
did
just
he-
heard him screaming.
Okay.
So
But you wanted me to take a look at that thing?
Oh, I did very much, yes.
I'm gonna go gather chutney.
Okay. Don't touch it.
Try my best and hope this works this time. A little lens pops over, and I will stare at it and cast Identify.
Okay. As you focus on it, the information comes to you through magical means. But what this is a very small shard of what's referred to as the Gnarl Rock.
The Gnarl Rock.
The Gnarl Rock. The Gnarl Rock is a mythological stone that exists deep, deep in the Fey realm. There are many theories as to how it got there. Some believe it's always been there. Some believe it was placed there. It grew there. There are many individuals within the Fey realms that have their theories. But what's known is where it resides, everything around it mutates and twists, and this mass thicket of nightmare nature now entwines for miles and miles around the Gnarl Rock. This is but a small shard that seems to have been taken from it.
Huh. And I all this information spills out of me just sort of mechanically, as if being read through an encyclopedia or something like that. But
So it changes you for the worse.
I don't know. I guess it, technically it could mutate something for the better if it started off pretty bad.
Maybe it just changes you and there's no good or bad to it.
Maybe it's not about starting bad and mutating to good. Maybe if you're bad inside, it makes it worse. But maybe if you're good inside, it just manifests in a positive way.
That could be. At least we know the bad guys don't have it anymore.
That's true.
that's true.
Maybe
I
they
do
can't-
think it's what turned the Shade Creeper mother into something much darker.
You know, Fern,
Yes.
I know we've talked about this before, but I'm just... Because you've come over from the Fae realm.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't... What did you tell us? Do you recall? Do you remember much? How long have you been here? What's your deal?
What's my deal? Well, I
This is good. We can judge it based on what she told us before, and we can see how much is the truth.
It's true.
well,
Just changed.
I don't exactly know. I came here to explore and to see the rest of the world, and my grandmother said that I could come here and maybe try to find my parents, which I haven't seen in a very long time. That's about it.
Inside
You
check.
didn't mention your parents before.
I did not.
No.
Oh,
Are your parents from Taldore or Exandria? Or are they originally from the Fae realm as well?
originally from the Fae realm as well, and they left when I was pretty young, so I haven't seen them. Gosh, I can't remember when they left. I want to say I was in my. I have it written down somewhere. I want to say maybe in my 40s, but I'm not sure. Yeah, they've been gone for a very long time because they went to go do something, but I don't know what they did.
You
But
don't know
I've been
where they
getting-
went either?
I've been getting letters from them.
Oh!
And, they've been traveling all over.
Oh, when's the last...
Postcards and
When's the last letter and where was it from?
I think the last postcard was from... I want to say it started with an A.
A?
Oncaril?
No.
Amon?
No. I think one of them was
Astral Sea.
Aor,
Aor?
maybe?
Aor.
I don't know.
Don't know where.
Do we know where that is?
None of you would know where that is.
Oh, boy, what a morning. How is everybody?
You're doing all right? You fucked it up real bad last night.
What?
Shit.
Heard you slept through everything.
No, I was actually out getting a 10K in because, I do fasted cardio. So sometimes you just got to take care of yourselves before the sun comes up.
It was a poor life choice if that was true.
Yeah.
Took care of yourself, did you?
Fucking worm.
Well,
Where were we heading before we got interrupted by those green seekers?
Oh dear.
Out
What,
of
we going to
town?
the-
Out of town.
We were going to
Out of
see.
we
town.
were going out of town.
We were going to see your.
Oh,
heart.
that's right. That's right.
So we should head that way again, correct?
I mean, if everyone's down, I'm down. I would love to get out of town for a little while.
Oh, yeah, I think that was their advice, too, right?
Yeah. Should we let Esros know about the Shade Mother?
Okay.
While we do that, maybe we can pop by Shadana's.
Let her know we're heading
Let her
out.
know we're heading out.
Yeah.
Pay her for the month, maybe next few. Or something.
Yeah, so she doesn't need to rent the room to
Exactly. All right.
All right.
All right.
Quick runaround.
Until eventually you are all led to the Black and Greenwood estate, known as Hexum Manor. Within a brief knock at the door and waiting for a servant's arrival who opens the door to the side upon recognizing you at the front. Doesn't even give you a word, just nods and opens the door and kind of offers an arm for your entry.
Come on, y'all, and prepare.
She'll be with you in just a moment. And you wait here for a few minutes. And eventually you hear the footfalls gently on the steps descending. There you see an mature elven woman stepping down the stairs in a long, draping, dragging dark blue robe with kind of a dull bronze trim to it. All manner of jewelry bracelets hanging from her wrists and around her neck as she descends and looks about you all. Welcome to my abode, friends of Ashton and the nobodies. Would you be so kind as to introduce me to your friend circle, Ashton?
Fern, FCG, Imogen, Laudna, Orem, old guy.
Chetney.
I was going to say Bertram, but that works.
Oh.
No, it's terrifying. It's actually my favorite.
So these are your new nobodies?
We're actually calling ourselves the Bells Hells. The nobodies are nobody these days.
How quaint.
Jiana Hexum, everybody.
A pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The pleasure is
Smiley day
mine.
to you.
So you all agreed to this little wager, have you?
We're not exactly sure what the little wager is, but sure.
Would love to hear it in your words.
Very well. I have asked your leader here, Ashton Greymore, to abscond with you to the north, to the hamlet, the Heartmoor hamlet. There resides a compatriot of mine. I say that the term compatriot loosely. An individual that I've known for some time against my own better judgment and will. Mr. Evon Hydroga. He owns and runs a very unique establishment in this city. We've had sort of a debate for years, kind of a, I apologize for the base term, a pissing contest in regards to whose collection was more majestic. With my recent break-in this past year, he has been a rather loud thorn in my side in our shared social circles, so I wish to test his ability to prevent such a break-in. He's bragged about how strong his defense capabilities are from burglary, so I told him if I could bring a well-trained group of burglars to bypass his defenses and retrieve an item of his choosing from the center of his museum, uncaught and unspoiled, then I win the wager. You all get paid. And we work through some of our historical baggage.
So we're not going to get in trouble by doing this.
No, not at all. There's no trouble, no legal issues. This is an agreement between
Ashton mentioned that there might be some competition as well.
Yes. As part of this social circle we keep, he's also brought in a Mistress Isha Sabanis, another one of our compatriots in these social groupings, who, one, wishes to take him down a peg, and two, wishes to take me down at the same time, and has stepped into a ring they were not invited to. So there is a possibility of competition.
So this mistress will also be trying to steal the item at the same time, or will be defending it for...
Will also be presenting her own champions to do the same.
All right. So we have to get the item and defeat the other burglar team.
Or at least get it before they do.
Team.
Would it be a...
Welcome to West Virginia.
Well, I will be providing an upfront overall cost of 300 gold for food and travel expenses. Upon success, 500 gold apiece to each member of your team, as well as our previously discussed arrangement. In the opportune chance that you thoroughly embarrass Mr. Hydroga, I will put, a smooth additional 500 gold apiece on the table. Now, and I mean this with all respect, where did you have this automaton designed?
Strangely, that's a mystery.
Really?
But they
Ashton
are
is
kind of their own thing.
Ashton is being, of course, humble, as they always are. Ashton was definitely involved in my design, and because Ashton is a fantastic thinker and planner.
I know people.
You are a endless bounty of surprises, Greymoor. Well, I would like, upon your return in success, to discuss the specifics of its design and who you had spoken with and worked on it. I have not quite experienced one with such articulation and autonomy. I'd like one myself.
Well, that can be a discussion for later.
Very well.
You can't have
FCG is not up for sale.
Yeah.
With that, we are going to wrap up a few things here, get on the road, and prepare to disperse your very particular flavor of humiliation upon your foes.
I appreciate your candor and your professionalism.
Time.
All right, you exit the somewhat oppressively creepy manor and find yourselves walking once more through the Lucian Spire in the later afternoon. Sorry there.
Oh gosh.
I love the Haunted Mansion ride.
Now going to Krook House. The two of you go ahead and trek back.
Three,
That's
you're
right,
with
three.
us, Orm.
That's right. Trek down through the Fonzie Hollow, down through the network of metal ramshackle ridges and platforms and ladders until eventually you come down to the familiar exterior of the Krook House.
Annie!
What?
Who was that? I'm not entirely
Milo.
sure. Okay, now. Oh, excellent. Milo.
Come in.
Thank you. I have a quick question. We are going.
Hi.
Actually,
It's good to see you.
You too, Milo.
FCG's been having a little bit of a problem.
no.
I don't want to overstate, but
I ran
Really
into,
kind of leaps, like the bowl kind of tips and spills a little bit on the table as Milo's right in your face as they're kind of
really
glancing
bad.
over you, kind of adjusting their glasses.
yeah, I ran into some interesting sort of hiccups yesterday. It wasn't physical. It was more of like, I don't know,
Okay.
internal assignments.
Help me out. Get him on the table.
right. All right. Here we go.
Leaning onto your back in the middle of Milo's kind of tinkering table.
Sure, and I'll take my hair wires and just sort of offer them to Milo in case he wants to examine the ends of them or plug them into
they want to,
anything
but yeah.
as they want to. Yeah.
Just try and relax. It'll be fine. I've been here.
Hi, I'm Orem.
Oh, hey, yeah. Hi. Welcome. Goes ahead and pulls a lantern and kind of scoots it over and it has like two hooded sides that clamp down to go ahead and focus the light down over where you're arranged on the tables. They start reaching out and grabbing some tools and start strapping elements of your body down. It's hard to pinpoint, but it looks like there's a lot of just like a pent up energy. It's like a faint vibration or buzz to the body. It's odd.
Pent up energy.
Yeah.
Okay. Where and like is it being stored
Just
anywhere?
listening
or-
and listening and listening, listening.
God, do I have to have sex to get rid of it?
Oh
You gotta let it out.
no!
Let it out. You can
Self-help. Self-care.
Yeah, self-care.
So many options.
Oh boy. I have one regular hand and one buzzsaw hand.
You're pent up, you're buzzing, you're halfway there.
Do you know if this type of energy buildup can be conducted or stored or somehow I don't know,
Dispersed.
siphoned?
Released.
Yeah, released, splooged. These are technical robotics terms.
Skip the jargon, please.
Whoa.
I like siphon.
I have myself arranged a few devices with low-level, arcane powering internals, and when utilized aggressively over long periods of time, sometimes there's arcane feedback. Sometimes, if the device isn't soundly put together, it can begin to rattle apart. There's many different things. I don't think that's the worry here, but I'm just saying, generally over time, they restore their energy. Sometimes it's in the view of enchanted charges. They need to restore over time. Could be a similar circumstance.
Wasn't worried before, and now I'm thinking about it.
So, you all reconvene at the exterior of the Fate Walk within the Lantern Spire.
Yeah.
We should go, yeah?
Should go. I need to make sure we have enough supplies for the road, right?
Sure.
Just quickly hit the market and grab a bunch of shit.
Okay.
What is that tattoo, by the way?
RTA, right there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta
Yeah, what is it?
recognize the alpha.
Oh, God.
Oh my God.
Oh, God.
What? You don't. Look, Imogen, there's an alpha inside all of us.
Oh.
Okay?
Oh.
No.
Oh.
You gotta learn to assert dominance.
He's been saying it.
All right.
I let Ashton just kind of, put himself forward there, but we know who's really leading this pack.
Make an intelligence check for me. Imogen.
Okay.
Intelligence
I
check.
feel much better with every plan.
11.
11. That's fine. You know enough to know that most of the existing study on alpha mentality is based on completely debunked information about wolves. The actual physiology and sociology of their history, it is untrue, and
Yeah.
anyone who claims anything about being an alpha is completely speaking on a basis of falsehood.
Yeah.
You got a real-time fact checker.
Oh my
So just remember, when you feel a little unsure, tap into the
god.
alpha.
Into the alpha.
Yeah.
I will. Anyone can be an alpha?
Well, sure.
All right.
You just have to recognize it.
You all reconvene, collect your horses, looking out over the dense jungle canopy ahead. You hear the welcome musical cacophony of the various jungle birds, all collecting their music and sounds through the air. The moisture of the underbrush and the dull yellowish green glow of the sunlight that peeks through the vines and leaves. You move past the groups of individuals that live here amongst the steppes of Drusar, the base of the jungle, the base of the spires. Follow the trails beyond civilization and begin your trek into the unknown beyond. We'll go ahead and roll for the first day's journey northward through the Oderan Wilds. I would like somebody to roll a d20 for me, please.
Start over here. We'll
Yeah,
make our way
sure.
down. Big money, no enemies. Natural 20.
Woo! Oh my god.
That means we fight a dragon.
Right.
Means you roll a d6 for me, please.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Let's roll the everything is wrong die. 1.
Okay. The rough 4 or so hours into your journey of this first day of travel along the northward winding Honored Trail. The path itself is kind of a combination of occasional rough-packed gravel and well-pressed dirt into a kind of tan and medium brown walkway that is relatively easy for your horses to maintain and traverse. Aurum, fern, laudna, and fresh-cut grass. As you're all continuing forward, you hear this rapid rustling to the right-hand side of the road. It's like jumping immediately out of the brush from the right to the left. For a split second, you almost see time slow as this large dog-sized, like a timber rabbit, leaps out of the brush, probably about 4 feet from end to end. You can see where the ears are. They're long and kind of dragging behind the head about an additional 2 feet. Has this heavy mane of wild matted light brown fur around its face. And its jaw, something that glimmers, this odd pinkish coloration, as it just darts off into the jungle off the left-hand side.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, so
I'm not going to go far. I'm going to run like 30 feet into the bush just to see if I can catch another glimpse of this
Everybody needs a
creature
style.
I've never seen
That's your
before.
biopic?
Okay. You dart 30 feet into the jungle, kind of dodging through. Make a stealth check for me as you do so.
That's where my love
You're so
affair started.
No, not. Oh, it's a 1. I get to reroll it.
Can I try to do a rabbit call?
15.
Sure, make a.
Only if you do it for us.
Sure.
Okay. Go ahead and roll, and I'll say an animal handling check on this one.
11.
What does it sound like?
Ooh. That was good, man.
It listens for a second, wriggles its nose. You can see that strange kind of pink object in its mouth still.
Can I see what that is?
Make a perception
full of
check.
people trying to do
Drop it.
It's a natural 20. And a 19.
Damn.
Okay, for a total of 25.
It is a smoothly polished stone about that big that it's just kind of holding in its mouth like a toy. And it's like, looks back and you can see, now that you have a better look at its face too, the front teeth are very long and kind of curve backward. And you can see it's kind of resting behind the teeth, the tongue's kind of pressing against it, and that's how it holds it in its mouth. Also, in the front of its head, the skull comes to this kind of odd curved horn, kind of hooks back about 6 or 7 inches or so before the rest of the fur mane kind of collects around its base. And it just kind of looks back
Only if you believe. The bunny corn?
and begins darting off into further west.
I'm going to chase it.
Unfortunately, it spooked a little bit, and it seems like it's getting further away. Do you want to continue to pursue?
One more time. Yeah, run.
Okay.
Yep.
So you can go in full run behind it now?
Yeah. Full tilt.
Okay.
And I'll go like this.
Vegas gambler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're trying to mimic the noise?
Yeah, I heard it. I know where it was coming from. It's really bad, but I'll do it anyway.
Make an animal handling check for me.
Let's go.
Ooh, terrible. 5.
So you make the noise, it's more a... and the creature suddenly like leaps up from the middle of the brush.
I drew a craft the saddest, tiniest little carrot.
It doesn't see you yet.
Okay.
It stoops down to pick up the gem in its mouth quietly. It looks like it's beginning to prepare itself to continue its path away. What do you do?
I drop the carrot and sprint, and I'm going to try to grab the stone.
Okay.
Trying to be faster than a rabbit.
You were just darting for it.
Yes. Now I drop stealth and just book it.
Okay. I will say, go ahead and roll d20, add your initiative modifier.
I get advantage on initiative rolls. Can I add that?
Yeah, for this instance.
Thank God.
Oh God. Yeah.
19.
19. It got a 16.
Oh,
so you do manage to go first.
Steal from the cute bunny.
Why do I have advantage on that? That's the rope, which is gone. The rope. Okay.
Oh, the rope would have been so useful here.
22.
Right in this moment.
22.
Yeah.
Nice.
It rolled a 20 altogether.
Oh, nice.
You're a lucky motherfucker. You managed to twist it and pull it free from its mouth, and it kind of bites after your hand, but you pull away, at which point it kind of pauses for a second, looking at you, its head to the side, and then poof, darts off a huge leap.
And I go in the opposite direction. Like, now that I have a chance to examine it on my short walk back, what am I looking at here?
You turn. It is smooth and polished on one side, and the other side itself.
Rock.
What's up?
It's just
It's just a rock.
Just a rock. The other side is kind of rough, almost like it's broken or broken off something. But it has like it just looks pretty. It's like a piece of colored glass.
What is this?
I don't know. You guys seem to have a thing for pink rocks.
Oh. Oh, does it feel tingly? Like it could transform me at any moment in time?
No, it's a different shade, texture, and consistency. The stone that you found in the layer that you have currently contained in that pouch at your side is more opaque and rough, and has like a weight and heft to it. This is very light and looks almost glassy. Like it has a translucence to it when you look at it at certain angles. The back of it's kind of rough and broken, like it was sheared off of something. It's
So
light.
hold it up to the sun. Is it see-through?
Yeah, it has like a translucent nature to it, and the light kind of pokes through. And as you lift it, you can see kind of the bright pinkish light refraction. A relatively uneventful rest of the day. You did get a later start. That wasn't like a first thing in the morning exit from the city. You had to gather your things and procure your mounts and everything. So you left probably a little afternoon. So you're looking at about an additional 2 more hours of travel before eventually it gets darker and darker, and you find yourselves now traveling through a darkened jungle.
We should start looking for a clearing off the road that we can camp.
You all head over there and begin to build a fire and set up for a night's camp. Gather your bedrolls and prepare for rest.
We're very safe here.
We are. What time do you reckon it is? If it's 3 a.m., does that mean you get frisky?
Maybe. I think it's past 3 a.m.
Oh, okay, good.
I think we have the morning, almost the morning shift.
Are
So
are
it's
you
the second
okay,
shift.
by the way? Just missing your parents like you do?
Yeah. I mean, it's been a very long time since I've seen them, and I think I've lived more of my life without them than I have with them. But I sure would like to know if they're okay.
Aren't you worried that if they send you another postcard, you won't be home to get it, or just is someone at home to forward it to you?
Well, my grandmother is home, and if they send it, then she'll keep them there for me when I come home. So, I'm sure I will have so much mail by the time I get home.
For sure.
So, because we've been gone for a while.
Oh,
Yeah,
I hope you find them.
me too.
What were their names? Or
Oh, Ollie, which is funny, and, shit, I forgot my mom's
oh,
name.
that's fine. It's late.
It's late.
What was your
Just a
mother's?
second. Remember this offhand. It's been so long since I've seen her.
You can check your notes and get back to me.
Oh God, how can I forget? My mama's name is Birdie, and
Oh,
my daddy's name is
Very
Oleander.
made up shit.
Oleander, Birdie, and Oleander. Oh,
Sounds like a musical.
It
It does.
My grandmother's name is Maury, short for Morrigan.
Oh.
amazing. Well, good night.
Good night.
The noise shifts once more, and you all come to consciousness for your second day of travel. Stepping back onto your horses, leaping onto their backs and preparing them for the journey.
Do you have time to really take a look at this weird piece of
Oh, yeah.
Let's,
I
take a
sure
look at
do.
this. Let's really take a look at this thing.
I sure will. I look at it and cast Identify.
Tree room.
You do.
Identify.
Identify.
I
The text is flying through my memory banks like the Terminator.
Yes.
It is a Feywild shard.
Like the Gnarl thing?
Ironically, similar origins, but very different material. Once a day, when you use metamagic, you can choose to also roll on the wild magic table.
What?
You can choose.
Chaos.
You mean 1 through 100?
Chaos. That's a
Choose
D100.
chaos.
Fucking
Yeah.
awesome.
You can decide to just, this is the time, casting the spell, let's roll on the table and see what happens.
It's like graduating from the deck of many things to the deck of everything. It's really great.
Eventually the horses, you can sense them getting tired, their gait beginning to slow, and you know it's probably getting close to time to set camp. So you're looking off, keeping a close eye on the distance. Just as the blast of light begins to fade, you feel a tug at your hip. Glancing over, and you can see Ashton's arm there, like reaching into one of your pouches.
Excuse me.
I was just checking. It's still there. That's good.
It's all still there.
No, that's very
You
good.
can always just ask. What do you want?
I want to not ask.
Fair enough.
Game on later.
Okay.
Well done.
Are you... Oh, that might be a rude question.
Oh, please.
Are you all rock hard?
That's
What
never a
time
good
is it? Is
question.
it 3?
That's second shift.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't checked. I mean, the outside, yes, and what little inside I've seen is yes. I'll tell you what. I wasn't always. This wasn't how I started.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, I was soft once.
You finish your shift. Who takes next shift?
I'll take the next one.
I'll join her. This might be too forward, but do you remember much about the end?
Like the end, the end? There are some blank spots, yes.
But I remember quite a lot. For better or for worse, I guess.
My parents thought that getting an invitation to the palace, to the castle, to meet the Lord and Lady Briarwood was a great boon. We were promised a wonderful feast and an amazing party, and we were told we were going to be serving a greater purpose for Whitestone.
I would say it's a crapshoot. Because it's not like I was best friends with my boss. I was just an employee. But it's possible I would have overheard discussions of this. Can I roll to see if I understand
go ahead and roll
that?
a history check.
Biggest roll of the night.
History?
Yes.
23.
Ooh.
Like a shock of lightning in your head. You make the connection. You heard the terrible tale of what happened.
You know what's interesting about you?
I would hope a great deal of many things.
Well, there's the obvious. But you're the happiest person in this bunch.
Of course. The worst thing that's ever happened to me has already happened. I remember being tossed clothes to wear, told to change, be served a wonderful dinner, which we were. It was actually quite fantastic. It was like filet, a little surf and turf, had some lobsters. And then that was it. They dragged me away, separated me from my parents, was brutally beaten, and then it's a little fuzzy after that, but next thing I remember was waking up being hung from a tree. It was the sun tree, actually. It was quite a spectacle.
Yeah, I gathered. I'm so sorry.
It was a long time ago.
Respectfully. So fucking what?
Don't you pay no mind to me or my past. Focus your brain forward. It's not worth being sad about what can't be changed. You see this? You see my ears?
Yeah.
I take little gold cuffs, little pointed-eared gold cuffs off. Wear these to hide it, because people get all gagged out about it, but they cut my ears to make them pointy. To further match whatever warning signal that I was.
Yeah, about that. Orm's gonna go lie down and pretend to sleep and take a point of exhaustion because there's no fucking way he would fall asleep after that conversation.
Okay, go ahead and mark that point of exhaustion.
Yep.
Your shift goes by without major issue. Eventually the sun rises onto your next day of travel. The rain continuing. The sun not visible, just a lighter gray sky above as you progress. The rain gets heavier.
Shit.
And heavier as the clouds grow darker and darker.
You did this.
And you hear the distant roll of thunder. But as you press forward, About 3 hours into this journey, the heavy fog getting thicker and thicker. Not too far from the road, there is a blinding flash, the sound of wood splintering, and a massive sharp sound that causes you all to instinctively grab your ears. The horses rear up. You end up crashing back down, some of you almost falling off, but you catch yourselves. You can see this plume, dark smoke, rising up about 200 feet, 300 feet above and to the right of the trail that you're on.
Was it just a tree?
Like a lightning strike?
I kick into a gallop.
Oh.
Orem and Fern.
Oh.
As everyone's kind of looking in the space and glancing around, you both see something odd in the center of the split. It makes no sense. There's a growth. Small.
Oh boy.
Shaking, impacted by the heavy rainfall.
Talking about
A
like
faint bluish coloration. As you get closer, it is a bit high up, but from a certain viewing point, a little bit off to the right, you can, from your height especially, can see better. It's a flower. A blue-petaled flower that seems to stand there in the center of this freshly split tree, like it had always been there, or it should not have been there at all.
blue flower in the storm. I think of our friend who we said goodbye to a few days ago, and I'm gonna gingerly reach out and cut it free.
All right. I won't touch it, but I will. And identify.
Okay. That is a chromatic rose, specifically a blue chromatic rose.
Chromatic rose.
What does that mean?
Every chromatic rose has its chromatic thorn.
While holding the rose from its stem, you gain resistance to lightning damage.
Oh.
If you would take more than 10 lightning damage after resistance from a single source, it destroys the rose. Alternatively, you can take an action to blow the petals from it. And a 20-foot cone of lightning can blast forward.
That's cool.
That does destroy the rose.
Very cool. It's a cool forest.
Cool. Well, they say stay to the path, but everything cool is off the path.
Absolutely.
Getting back onto your mounts, you continue onward. The rough storm, it does slow your journey a bit. And so that 3 to 4 day journey becomes a 4 to 5 day journey. Depending on how the next days go, you may have an additional day added to it, depending. We're on the cusp. But the rest of this day does eventually come to a close. The storm begins to subside, and you find the light of day fading.
All right, cool.
How are you feeling? Want to talk to me about your dreams?
I mean, nothing more than I already. Cool.
Can you still hear our voices, our head voices?
I keep that out for the most part. I don't want to invade on any thought.
Oh, that's nice.
Unless you want me to.
Anytime? Anytime you want.
I don't know, the last time I did it felt like...
You know, we have such similar abilities. It might be interesting to just sort of like...
What if we did it at the same time? Like
Simul-probe.
melded? You want to do it? Oh my gosh,
Let's
it'll be
do it.
like... Okay.
Let's do it. I'm going to go deep.
Me too.
All the way.
Hard.
Deep and hard.
Deep and hard.
No one else is awake, right?
No, we're good. All right.
So you are both casting
Simultaneous
simultaneous
detect
detect
thoughts.
thoughts.
You guys
And
are
we're going to
drifting.
go deeper.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to resist.
Me neither.
It is more or less a soft merging of consciousness. There is a moment where you both are having a conversation, but with just emotions and memories. And it's very unique. There's not language more than it's just expressing and sharing. And it comes to memories that involve you growing up, you helping, rear and take care of your first foal, and raising horses and dealing with the frustrations of, working in farm and pastures under Mr. Fairmore. It deals
Mr. Fairmore.
memories of the reoccurring dream. You now get to see it. You get to actually experience some of these memories and visions. This deep, red, ominous, flashing storm, the heavy dust and winds, the sense of hunger and growing doom.
Scary as fuck.
It's lots of meaning and subtext.
Conversely, you begin to look into FCG, and you see memories of traveling with Dancer and Troop. You actually can now see the other automatons they traveled with. You get to see the campfire parties. You get to see the stumbling through town and the odd looks, but the sense of belonging that was felt and enjoyed.
Your family.
You see a flash of those same individuals scattered around, unmoving, bloody. You see a figure darting off into the shadow of night and the loneliness, the sorrow and the loneliness. You get the sense on both of your parts that there's probably more there, but this is still new. This is still odd. And right now, this is about where it should sit.
I just hug him.
Yeah, I'll hug you back.
Yeah. I kind of feel like we're the same person now.
The warmth of light begins to find its way to the jungle once more, and your next day of travel is before you.
What are you gonna whittle for me?
You want to know what it is?
I've been thinking other people made requests, but I guess I kind of want you to surprise me.
Oh, yeah, I just figured I'd fill in the blank. It's interpretive.
All art is.
Well, right. I'm just making it to suit you, or rather how I see you, or a part of you.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, you're going to like it, don't worry.
I have no doubt.
Speaking of art, I see you got the moons on that sleeve. Some sweet ink, bro. Do you have any experience with our kind? I mean, I see the love.
The love?
For the moon.
Oh, yeah.
What's that for?
The ink?
Well, the moon.
The moon.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Oh.
It's to help me remember my husband.
Oh. And is he not... Oh, I'm sorry.
Thanks.
Again, it's a beautiful piece.
Yeah, I like it.
Can I ask what his name was?
Yeah. Will. His name was Will.
Was this back with the Arashari?
Yep. He died that day.
The attack.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. Oh, this is personal for you. This is all connected to that.
Oh, yes.
Oh, fuck.
But it's also my duty. And it was his. All of ours. And, we chose our life with eyes wide open.
You were both protecting the hand of the Tempest?
Voice. Yeah.
Voice.
Anyway, thanks for talking to me about it.
I want to hear more about the moon sometime and what it meant. I'm figuring out relationship with it, so.
Well, that's not complicated. I don't mind sharing it. He was half elven and big moon, little moon.
Oh God, I love it.
Oh, no.
That's great. Do you hear growls?
I did like 7 or 8 minutes ago, but I think it passed.
Emotional damage.
I think the sun's coming out. You
Yep.
should probably wake the others.
No, not yet. I gotta get some work in. Feel inspired.
Slowly, the rest of you
He's like,
wake up to the subtle sounds of.
I'm just doing it above Ashton's head, so all the little.
You do notice the topography of the jungle beginning to change slightly. The extremely tall, heavy-rooted jungle trees are beginning to grow a little more sparse. They're starting to drop lower from some of them being 60, 70, 80 feet tall, are starting to drop closer to 40, 50, some 30, 20 feet. And the thick jungle floors that you see filled with all manner of bush and fern beginning to give way to occasional bits of marshy spots, connotating that you're starting to get a little bit closer to the Heartmoor. You likely have one more day of travel.
Okay.
And you might be arriving at the hamlet right around the time of night, should all go well. Maybe about 40, 50 feet from where you are in the dark of night, there is a bit of a glow. A faint, kind of very faint light source.
glow like a singular mote or almost like fireflies?
A singular
or-
mote.
Singular
Drift.
mote. I don't like that. Fucking things.
Oh, I know.
I just.
I've never told anybody this before, but I just wanted to. Hey, what the fuck are you looking at?
I just like take my bony fingers and kind of wrap them around the side of his head, and I smash my head against his and point to my eyeline.
What the fuck?
You glance over and you see that, like 40, 50 feet over, what looks like a tiny humanoid figure. With little wings.
Just, nope. It's cute. Oh, it's cute.
Drifts and lands on the ground. It just kind of hangs there. 20 minutes.
What do we do? Do we talk to it?
Do we encroach?
Do I wake up Fern?
What's happening?
We think there's a fairy or a pixie or a fae. He's got wings.
Bitches! No, go back to bed. Leave it alone.
I just go back to sleep.
Okay. Hell yeah.
Fuck.
Hell yeah.
All right.
I feel like we should have learned something here. I just don't know what it is.
No, I'm
wake
just
up
kidding.
Fern
What
is the lesson.
what? If you guys actually saw a little something earlier?
Yes, he was glowing, and I felt like he was like pulsing, and he was trying to communicate with me.
She's kind of looking over in your direction.
Does it only? Are you speaking?
I'm just gonna go walk over.
Okay. You walk over towards it, kind of trudging out of the top of the cliff side where the tree is, kind of down into the space towards it. Go ahead and make a wisdom saving throw.
Okay, I did. 8.
8, okay.
Uh-oh.
As you walk towards it, it kind of
This is so poetic.
gives this like pulse glow to it. The rest of you watch Fern walk towards it and just kind of walk past it. And just keep walking.
Uh-oh.
You
Where's
see-
she going?
She's just walking away from camp.
Whoa, now.
Fern?
I'm
Fern!
gonna run in that direction.
You catch up to Fern, and Fern's just kind of like,
Yo. Whoa.
and you stop at about, from where you were, you go about 30 or so feet, and then you just stop, and you see her standing dazed.
Hey.
You hear this like strange tugging slither sound.
Uh-oh.
And you glance over and you see the fairy moving over to you, but it's not jumping and flitting. It's just like, you glance down and you see that where the feet are, there is a tendril, some sort of a long snake-like vine, and it pulses. And as you watch it withdraw a bit and you see Fern just kind of standing there, the rest of the jungle floor in the vicinity around you see drawing inward about 15 to 20 feet of vines and roots shifting as one of the nearby trees was not a tree at all, but a large 15-foot tall craned-like plant creature with a heavy sharpened beak and a whole mane of darkened red blood-like colored leaves as these tentacle-type vines begin to unravel around in its mouth.
Oh, God.
Opens up, the single vine-like lure glaring in front. We're gonna pick up there.
Oh, probably should have left it alone.